Welcome to Diversified Finance. My name is Lakal, and today I'm going to quickly go through this article on ABC News. Okay, so the heading is Home Loan Defaults More Likely to Jump in Outer Suburbs, warns Moody's. Okay, Australian households in the outer suburbs are at greater risk of defaulting on their home loans due to their lower incomes and higher debts, according to Moody's. The rating agency analyzed residential mortgage-backed securities to find out which households were behind on their repayments. Moody's found the proportion of borrowers that were at least 30 days behind on their home loans average 1.1% within 5 kilometers of city centers, but jumps to 1.9% in suburbs between 30 to 40 kilometers away. So that's the chart. You can just have a quick look at it. You can pause if you want. Yeah, and then Moody's noted a number of factors behind the discrepancy. Average incomes are lower in outer suburbs than in inner city areas, while mortgage loan to value ratios are higher on average in outer areas, and socio-economic conditions are typically weaker, the report observed. These factors increase the likelihood of mortgage delinquencies and default in outer areas, particularly in the event of an economic downturn. So that's the chart. You can have a quick look at it. You can pause if you want. Okay, so let me continue. Despite the fact that real estate is generally a lot cheaper further away from city centers, the lower average incomes mean most households pay down their loans more slowly, leaving them at a risk of falling into negative equity if property prices drop substantially. People on lower incomes have less capacity to make mortgage repayments above the scheduled minimum payments, which means loan amounts are paid down slower and LTVs, loan to value, remain higher, Moody noted. Higher LTVs increase the risk of default and mean there is less equity in properties to absorb loss if the defaults occur. People with positive equity in their property are able to sell it if they start having difficulty meeting their repayments, while still being able to pay off their debt, while those in negative equity may be pushed into default. Non-bank lenders also appear to do more business in these areas, Moody observed, perhaps due to the risky nature of the borrowers involved, given lower and often less stable incomes and higher loan to value ratios. So inner city investor also a risk. While Sydney exemplifies the geographical trend almost perfectly, with areas rates rising steadily with distance from CBD, the other major cities have slightly higher rates of delinquency in CBD than they do 5 to 10 kilometers from it. Moody said that was mainly due to delinquent investment loans in those inner cities areas, with 57% of mortgage in areas within 5 kilometers of the Melbourne CBD held by property investors. So this is interesting. So if you look at Melbourne, so this gray area is investment apartment, and on top of that you have investment other. So if you look at Melbourne, 57%, so from here to here is 57% of mortgages in areas with 5 kilometers of Melbourne CBD. So that's not looking good. So this is not good news for investors in Melbourne, if you look at this chart right here. So Sydney is kind of okay. So Adelaide is the best out of this. So Melbourne is the worst, and Brisbane is kind of like in between. Sydney is not looking too bad if you look at the investment apartments, but still overall it's not looking good. But anyways, let's see what happens. Yeah, the rating agency warned that could make inner city areas vulnerable to a steep rise in defaults during a severe property downturn. In suburbs within 5 kilometers of CBD in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, at least 50% of mortgages are extended for investment purposes, Moody observed. There is also a high share of interest-only loans in these areas. The performance of investment and interest-only loans is more sensitive to housing price declines than owner-occupier and principal and interest loans, because borrowers rely on price gains to earn a return on their investment. Falling house prices can also hamper borrowers' ability to refinance such loans or extend interest-only terms. However, while inner-city areas may see a rise in mortgage areas and defaults due to the high proportion of investors, Moody's expects the outer suburbs will still be worst hit in a property crash. In the event of an prolonged downturn in house prices, mortgage delinquencies and defaults could increase in inner city areas with high share of investment and interest-only loans. Though in general, we expect the delinquencies and defaults to remain higher in outer suburbs. So that's about it. So according to Martin North, he expects a 40 to 45% downturn. So looking at this, it's not looking good. Like so many, look at this. If you look at Melbourne, it's not looking good. Even in Sydney, if you have like more owner occupiers, we have it kind of like, because if you have more owner occupiers, then there's more chance like they can cut down on the expenses, and then they'll try to like they reduce expenses and make sure they are able to pay their repayments. But if you're an investor, why bother, right? So if you feel like you can't pay it anymore, you'll be forced to sell, and you don't even worry about it because it's an investment property. So this is what we see right now. So yeah, we have to wait and see, let's see in few months time, some areas I heard it's already down like 20%, like some suburbs in Sydney, and average is down probably 10%. So we probably end of 2018 we'll probably have a clear picture, and then towards mid 2019, 2019 is the critical year, so we'll wait and see what would happen. So yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for your time. I'll talk to you in the next video. See ya.